Welcome to Friday and welcome to your most authoritative show, The Pulse. It is coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle on your digital terrestrial TV because we're free to air on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. We are your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. This afternoon, ECOWAS Chairman President Akufo-Addo arrives in Guinea as he sets up efforts to address the crisis. We will hear from presidential correspondent on this unannounced trip to Guinea. Meanwhile, experts are casting doubt on the tough measures outlined by regional bloc ECOWAS towards resolution of Guinea's political crisis. They say the 6 months timeline for polls to be organized is not feasible.
ECOWAS has missed the floor.
The time is too short for such an arrangement.
We should eventually wait to see how the coup leaders would respond.
This afternoon, we have expert analysis on how the story has traveled and also find an antidote to the Guinea crisis. Also this afternoon, students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have begun packing out of the school ahead of a planned clash between two rivals. There's heavy police reinforcement at the university.
Opportunity to do so. Anyone who dare tries that, the security personnel will pick you up.
We have live updates from the Kumasi University for you. Plus, as we get ready for the second mini clinic of the JoyNews EcoBank Habitat Fair, we'll be telling you how you can switch off your gadgets even when you are outside.
Habitat, we have made a lot of contacts. What we are hoping for is all these contacts that we have made will generate into a very good sales for DBS.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities, Dignilu, Affordable, Safe Sanitation. Remember, we are also streaming live on YouTube and all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is @Denana. Aisha, always a pleasure to host you. Many thanks for choosing us. The President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is currently in Guinea in his capacity as chairperson of ECOWAS Authority, together with the President of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, His Excellency Alassane Ouattara, to hold talks with the military leadership in Guinea, led by Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya, largely on the fate of President Alpha Condé, amongst others. Let's get more on this travel and speak to Elton Brobe, who is our presidential affairs correspondent. Elton, what has triggered this travel by Ghana's president?
Right. So, Aisha, if you check the communique that came up after yesterday's extraordinary summit called by President Akufo-Addo to look at the situation in Guinea, the 18-point communique talks about the need for the chair of the regional body to visit Guinea and also assess for himself the political situation here there, meet with the military regime, and then check on the status of the deposed President Alpha Condé. So this is President Akufo-Addo complying with what he and his colleagues agreed yesterday after that meeting to look at the political issues in Mali. So he was there first as chair of ECOWAS to check on the situation in Mali and to formally communicate to the military regime, the leader, the outcome of ECOWAS deliberation on the political crisis in Guinea, and to also check on the status of the post-president Alpha Condé. So my information is that he was there for like 3 hours, and as I speak with you right now, the president is out of Guinea on his way to the United States of America, where he will be attending the UN General Assembly. Now, as part of what he will be doing in the United States, he's expected to speak on the 23rd of September. He will address the UN General Assembly, and as chair of ECOWAS, is expected to provide some updates on the situation in the sub-region, particularly Guinea and Mali, and to tell the world leaders what ECOWAS is doing to restore calm, restore democratic rule in the areas that have witnessed military takeovers, Mali and Guinea as well. So he was there to assess and learn the situation in Mali and Guinea, and also to report to the United Nations and ECOWAS as a whole. So this is basically in compliance with the communique that they themselves came up with after that meeting here in Accra yesterday.
You know how the military leaders, led by Mamadou Damboya, received the president with all the things that he had to share with them?
Well, we've been told to wait for an official communication from the handlers of President Akufo-Addo about the meeting, what they discussed, the takeaways from the meeting, and other issues of relevance to the country and the sub-region. So that communication, we are told we should wait for it within the next hour, and then we can, digest it. But for now, is the details of the meeting. My information is that it was held in camera. For that reason, details are yet to come out. But the indication is that in the next 1 hour, a formal communication detailing what transpired between the two leaders and the way forward would be announced to us, particularly as it relates to ECOWAS' strong position on the need for the military regime to start process to return the country to constitutional rule within the next 6 months, and also the other restrictions that were announced by ECOWAS in the communique, and the readiness of the Guinean authorities to respect it and implement it. Remember yesterday, they had made it clear through Ghana's foreign minister when she presented her report to the committee, to ECOWAS members, that they had concerns and conditions of their own. One of this is the fact that they are currently in the process of listening to the views and aspirations of the people of Guinea as to the governance system that they are comfortable with. And then when they are through with the consultative meeting, which is lasting the next 4 days, today is the second day, so hopefully by Monday they would have come to a decision as to what the Guinean people want, and then he, as military ruler, will take steps to implement it. So they made it clear yesterday that until these matters that they started in their own country are done with, it was going to be very difficult for them to comply with any roadmap. But regardless of that, ECOWAS has come up with its own decision on the way forward politically. They've made it clear that within 6 months they should hold general elections or hand over to a civilian regime for the civilian regime to supervise elections and for the constitution to remain supreme in the political and economic affairs of Guinea. So there are two issues. The Guinean, a sovereign nation, is saying that this is how we want to progress. ECOWAS, a regional body, say that you need to go this way. How they marry the two, I'm sure, came up in that discussion. And in the next one, my information is that we'll have a detailed account of what transpired.
And we truly will share that details with you, our viewers, in our subsequent bulletin. Elton Brobe is our presidential correspondent with those details. But this afternoon also, experts are questioning the measures announced by the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, towards the resolution of the political crisis in Guinea. They say the call for polls to be organized in 6 months is not feasible. ECOWAS yesterday imposed a travel ban on the military officers who seized power from the civilian government in Guinea. An embargo has also been placed on their financial assets. President of the Commission, Jean-Claude Bro, announced these measures after leaders of the sub-regional body held an extraordinary summit here in Accra. Listen.
The importance of allowing President Alpha Condé to be free and ensure that his physical integrity be respected. So that was the very first thing. They said it in September 8th, and they repeat it again today. President Condé must be free without any condition and be immediately free, released by the military. The second thing they said was to reaffirm very firmly the condemnation of the coup d'etat, because as I said and explained, we do not accept coup d'etat in ECOWAS, community protocols. In addition to those two things, two decisions, looking now at the political situation and the way forward, the head of state insisted that the transition must be very short. Must be very short. And they even went to the way of clearly stating that the transition should not last more than 6 months. So 6 months, election should be held. They insist that because the election will allow the restoration of the constitutional order in the Republic of Guinea, and that's important, that's critical. And because there was a coup, and to give the clear signal that this is not acceptable, they imposed sanction. They imposed sanction on the member of the National Committee for Development and Restoration in Guinea, the new organ that has taken over. So sanction on those members. The sanction cover travel bans, freeze of asset, financial asset, essentially. They also, of course, reaffirm ECOWAS' firm commitment to work and help Guinea in this process of restoring the constitutional order. They insisted also on the close support of our traditional partner, the United Nations, the African Union, the European Union, and also other bilateral countries. And they also decided that there will be a visit by the chair of the authority to the Republic of Guinea as soon as possible to convey those messages regarding the decision of the summit personally, in person. ECOWAS is a community of sovereign member states. Do not forget that. ECOWAS is a community of sovereign member states. They have the domestic law, they have the domestic legislation. What ECOWAS can do and what ECOWAS did, we had several consultations with various stakeholders, various political parties, well before, during and after. We went there several times. The Commissioner of Political Affairs, Peace and Security is with me several times, and we had several discussions, and even at the high level. But again, community of sovereign members. Okay, sovereign members. So, our protocol are very clear about that. So some action and decision by member belongs to the member countries. So what ECOWAS, on the basis of our current protocol, can do is to engage them, engage all the stakeholders. It was during COVID time, we had virtual meetings when when the situation, the COVID improved a little bit, we went there several times.
International conflict resolution analyst Colonel Festus Boahina Boaji, however, says ECOWAS must approach the situation differently.
It's not very logical that the new organ, as they chose to call it, can restore constitutional order in 6 months. Because, first and foremost, the constitution has been overthrown, according to the pushists. So they need to write a new constitution. And it's not going to be a simple matter. I think my colleague, the political scientist, can speak to that. It's not a very simple matter of throwing away the constitution that was re-engineered by Condé, which served as a proximate cause for his overthrow, and then restoring the former constitution. Is going to be an entirely new process of bringing together segments of Guinean society, as they are now, telling us, to try and get some consensus around this new constitution. 6 months is too short for that.
All right.
But even if it's possible, at the end of that process, there's got to be elections, democratic elections. And according to the protocol that the communicant or the one who read the official communique said, the elections have to be free, fair, transparent. And therefore, you need to lay on the ground certain arrangements. We know what it takes to run elections in this country. You need to allow time for campaigning. So there's got to be a law on political parties. You need now to get the logistics and the infrastructure in place. It's very possible that a new commissioner for elections, is going to be appointed. 6 months is not even optimistic. I mean, it's an overstatement or too ambitious. The attitude that ECOWAS has adopted, once again, is to sit in the capital of the chair and then read out demands on a state that has been overthrown. And that, we have said, is counterproductive. This meeting in Accra yesterday should have now appointed a very high level, mission, diplomats, to go back to Guinea and engage with the leaders. Now, what went the other time, for me, I didn't even understand why the leader or the chair of our Council of State should be part of that mission to Guinea. Because that leader of the Council of State is not part of the ECOWAS architecture for security. Okay. You don't find that anywhere in the 1999 mechanism, nor in the protocol of 2001 and the, conflict prevention framework 2008. So ECOWAS has missed the plot. And I think it's not too late, as we did in the Gambia, to send a high-level team of 7 leaders or retired former heads of state to go and engage them and work out a plan, a transition plan. Yeah. So far, we know that the leaders are working out their own transition plan. They are consulting segments of Guinean society. So they are adopting the right approach to right the wrongs that Condé, effected on the state.
Let's have a conversation now on the decision taken by ECOWAS last night. Emmanuel Habuka Bombande is UN senior mediator and a conflict resolution, peace building and development professional. He joins us via Zoom now. Mr. Bombande, I'm grateful for your time. First, your colleagues have cast doubts on the tough measures taken by ECOWAS. Now, they say that the 6 months given them is not feasible. What's your own assessment? I mean, how does all of this come across to you?
Good afternoon to your viewers. I think my colleagues, there is a lot of merit in their assessment, precisely because the conditions and the environment that was so created to lead to the coup, what must happen is to prevent that from repeating itself. And so the constitution-making process itself must be attentive to stability and security as sustainable prospects. And you cannot do that in 6 months, especially when you look at the political context and the dynamics currently prevailing in Guinea. I say this because whilst we talk about Guinea, we do not go deep enough to appreciate and analyze the socio-political context in which, yes, there is multi-political party democracy, but political parties are mobilized along ethnic lines and dividing the country very deeply and making political power what becomes then a zero-sum game. And the acquisition of political power then determines not only how you govern, but how you exclude the opponent, which is not just a party, but an ethnic group. And without mentioning the details of the ethnicities, which I'm sure you are very well conversant with, I do not just see a constitution that returns Guinea to constitutional order, but I see a constitution-making process that also legitimizes how stability and peace is possible going forward into the future.
Ideally, what approach should have been adopted by the ECOWAS, with regards to resolving the issues in Guinea?
Well, so first of all, so maybe what we need to appreciate is, for some of us observing, I think the authority of heads of state of ECOWAS were informed more by what is also happening in Mali. Because in Mali, they gave a 1-year transition period. And as we speak, the Malian transitional arrangements appear to suggest that they are not ready to organize the elections in February 2022, which is of a major concern. And so ECOWAS might be thinking that if you also give Guinea 1 year, then you are likely going to have probably elections in Guinea only in 2023. And they are also listening attentively to the ECOWAS on the ground. So the first point is, by limiting the time period, it would also enforce a much deeper political engagement. So that is the first point. The second is, you need to accompany Guinea. Whereas the decisions are within Guinea, Guinea needs to be accompanied. Now, I heard the president of the ECOWAS Commission repeat several times our concept of sovereignty in the ECOWAS community. But your viewers must also appreciate that we have supranationality in West Africa that has evolved with the coming into being of the mechanism in 1999 and 2001. Now, this supranationality is precisely at the level of peace and security. And if you want me to explain that in 30 seconds,
go ahead.
When Yahya Jammeh was refusing to leave office, we did not seek his permission to activate the standby force. We were ready on the borders of Gambia to move into Banjul and evict him.
Okay.
And so Gambia's sovereignty had been submitted or subdued to the supranationality of a greater West Africa collective response to conflict. So in the same way, when it comes to stability and peace, and we recognize that instability in one country is likely going to spread to affect the entire region, we invoke supranationality. And that's why the chair of ECOWAS, who is our president, and the president of La Côte d'Ivoire are in Guinea today. And to that extent, my third point, which is then to wrap on this, is simple. We should be thinking more preventive than allowing the coups to happen for us to respond to them. And that's why I'm advocating, right from my days going back to WANEP, then into government and in the UN, that we must have our 2001 supplementary protocols on democracy and good governance upgraded. No president should have more than 2 terms. And the threshold that no one can touch the constitution should be increased from 6 months to probably 2 years. Because Alpha Condé knew that ECOWAS cannot accuse him of violating the Guinean constitution if he started amending it 6 months before the elections. So he started the process of changing the constitution at a time that ECOWAS only engaged, but the response was, but we have not changed the constitution. We are only in discussions. And then the COVID pandemic held everybody. They went ahead and they changed it. We should make it difficult for a sitting president to be smart and to maneuver around how to change the constitution and have a third term.
And I'm happy you talked about proactiveness on the regional bloc ECOWAS. From the way this matter has traveled, let's face the reality. Are you expectant of a resolution anytime soon?
I think that on the basis of trying to ensure that a community member cannot be left on its own, there will be a middle ground, and we will begin to see a more concerted effort. I think the lesson is political engagement is something you do every day. You don't just go through missions and allow things to evolve in a way that becomes more difficult to manage. Yes, I've been at the front seat. The United Nations Office for West Africa and the Sahel, where I have worked, supported ECOWAS on preventive diplomacy initiatives. They even located an expert on security sector reforms in Guinea. A lot of effort went on. The problem is, it did not work because you are looking at the profile of a sitting president who was absolutely committed to changing the constitution, and his peers were unwilling to hold him accountable. And so we need to go to the point in which, when you go back to the leadership of ECOWAS and you hear the names of former President Obasanjo, without mentioning so many names, they could get up in the room in an ECOWAS summit and challenge any sitting head of state that they thought was going the wrong way. In an ECOWAS summit in Accra, that happened when all of them held Laurent Gbagbo accountable and insisted that the war in La Côte d'Ivoire must end. So we must go back to that. But we cannot go back to that if we do not reinforce the legal regime that gives more, so to speak, more very clear and defined understanding of how we are going to move forward in the preventive aspects of all of this.
Your time, Dr. Emmanuel Bombande, senior UN mediation officer and also a conflict resolution analyst. I'm extremely grateful for your time this afternoon. Our political analyst, Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, says that timelines are not feasible.
The time is too short for such an arrangement, because if you are talking about an overthrow of a constitutional regime and you want a restoration in terms of what military disengagement, the process is not that easy, because you need to get the basics right so that you don't have problems as you go along. So I believe that they should be able to take a second look at the time for disengagement and prepare the grounds very well for it to be proper and fit for Guinean society. But on this call, I believe that also the Guinean people must be able to help ECOWAS to succeed. What do I mean by that? That these arrangements that were done in Accra here were to promote the interests of Guineans. So they need a lot of support. For military, they will come, they want to please you in the early stages with all manner of gestures. But I tell you, when you give them the mandate, General Ukram has made it abundantly clear to us that it is a different thing when power is in the hands of soldiers and they are governing. It becomes too difficult to control. So I believe that they should take a cue from that and then help ECOWAS to shepherd them to the promised land. I think that is the way to go.
Research fellow at Africa Research and Engagement Center at the University of Western Australia, Dr. Mamadou Danso-Delman, says the sanctions are far-reaching and we must wait to see how the military government responds to these sanctions.
The sub-regional body has decided to give Guinea a shorter time frame to return the country to constitutional rule, whereas before it gave Mali 18 months. So that is a good improvement. Secondly, it's gone beyond the usual condemnations and the usual expulsions from ECOWAS and add freezing of financial assets of the coup leaders, and also banned, placed a travel ban on them and their families. These are very good. Another development that I find is that the ECOWAS has made it a condition that the coup plotters do not take part in any election that result from the transition process. These measures are really good. I think I can say that there is a very good reason to believe that they would bite to a very significant degree. We should eventually wait to see how the coup leaders would respond to this. These decisions were made not more than 24 hours ago, and we wait to see what Mamadi Doumbouya and his men would do in response to these sanctions. I remember the Shelley Ayokobocho, the Ghanaian foreign minister, saying that the coup plotters actually gave certain conditions themselves. I am not privy to those conditions. It will be interesting to see those conditions that the coup plotters would also give before releasing Alpha Conde, for example. But I say again, the long and short of all this is that we are all waiting to see the response of the coup plotters to these sanctions, fearing that the situation in Guinea would be similar to what is happening in Mali. Was one of the reasons why ECOWAS gave Guinea a shorter time frame. But still, if the coup leaders are going to insist on their promise to rewrite the constitution, then to some extent, 6 months wouldn't be enough in terms of consultations, in terms of doing all the right things to make sure that the constitution that emerges from this transition process actually represents the Guinean people. That said, again, we need to wait to hear what the coup leaders have to say. On both sides, on the ECOWAS side, there's a good reason for them to give the leaders 6 months. But on the other side, in the side of the coup leaders, there is also a good reason to want more time to make sure that the transition period, the transition process is done not in a rush, but in a way that will actually reflect the interests and aspirations of the Guinean people. But there is also the risk that the more you drag the process, the more interests become entrenched, and the more difficult it becomes for those entrenched interests to give way for civilian rule.
Away from Guinea, the second mini clinic for this year's EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair comes up tomorrow at the West Hills Mall after the successful first mini clinic last weekend. It's going to be on Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. These mini clinics are designed ahead of the main fair each year to help prospective homeowners consider the range of options available and take the right decisions in acquiring that lifetime investment. In case you missed out last weekend, here's an excerpt.
When you are coming through this habitat, you already have 10% discount voucher and come to our office so that we can further business in regards to payment and production for our customers. And aside that, we have other profiles which we are also making a lot of noise on the media, which has to do with our ready-mix concrete and our blocks. The blocks, we have the engineering blocks, we have the hollow blocks, and we have the concrete blocks. Per the measurement, we have the 5 inches and we have the 6 inches as well.
All right. So, in terms of the Habitat Fair, what kind of opportunities has this afforded you to be able to reach out to potential customers?
I think looking at the Habitat Fair, we have made a lot of contacts. What we are hoping for is all these contacts that we have made will generate into a very good sales for DBS.
EcoBank also introduced patrons to its pension-backed mortgage.
There's a budget, or there's a home for every budget. So we have our EcoBank home ownership mortgage, where we finance you to get your own home. We have what we call a pension-backed mortgage, where if you have your tier 2 and tier 3 with a value of 20% or more of the property you intend purchasing, we can also use that as security and finance your mortgage 100%.
So you have no reason not to be at the mini clinic tomorrow to see for yourself what I'm talking about. But joining me now via Zoom is Israel Lai, who is JoyNews editor and anchor. Israel Lai moderated the To Build or Buy debate at last weekend's mini clinic. Hello, Israel.
Aisha.
So who's winning the build or buy debate?
Okay, so I'm not so sure, but I think it's a tight race between the two. There's some, you can say the buy people are having an edge, but then you also look at the people who are out there and who don't have money readily to buy these properties, and they also, they're also coming in strongly. So yes, it's. But I think ultimately everybody's going to win, because we're giving them options that the build team will have options to go on, and then the to buy people also have options. So if you want to buy, you come, and there are a number of companies, realtors that are with us. Predominantly amongst them is Elegant Homes. And then if you also want to build, then we have all the range of exhibitors who are offering so many things. And so yes, we can say we have something for each of them, whether you want to build or want to buy.
So what's your own option, to build or to buy?
Okay, I want to say it out. I mean, if you ask me, it depends. So if you have your money, enough money, I'll say buy, okay? But if you don't, then you'd also have to look at the build option. But for those who want to build, I keep saying you should have money to build as quickly as possible. Otherwise, you also have to start small. So you start small and build something and complete it and occupy it. Rather than attempt to build something that's really huge and it's going to take you years to finish, and your money is going to be locked up in all of that. So it depends. It depends on where you find yourself.
And I get a point that whichever way you look at it, there's something for you at the mini clinic. Of course, last weekend's mini clinic was fantastic. What sort of people are trooping into these mini clinics?
All right, so you get people who want to buy their own homes, and they're looking at the mortgage option. And so most of them, you see, they're trooping to EcoBank, and they're asking EcoBank, okay, so if I'm earning this much salary, what are the options for me, or how much mortgage can I take? There are others too who are coming in and they're saying, oh, I've seen this house, it's worth 800,000 cedis. Does my salary qualify for that kind of mortgage? And then you sit them down and break things down for them. And before they get to leave, they've taken a position, whether it's an 800,000 home, city home they want to buy, or they want to get other things. But the others too, not just prospective homeowners, people who are in their own homes, or maybe they've rented homes and they want to improve those homes. And that's when you have all these other companies, you know, Duraplast. If you're already in the house, you want to get a tank, storage tank, you come to Duraplast and they have that available for you. There's also Bambi Smart Homes. If you want to turn your home into a smart home. So that, so that you can have your curtain blinds come down by themselves and reveal by themselves, then you can approach them. They can automate your home. So we have those as well. And Bambi Smart Home will be joining us for the conversation. They're options.
In fact, they are already on. Kwabna Boache is representing Bambi Smart Homes. Kwabna Boache Uzuansa, he's executive director of Bambi Smart Homes, and Bright Tamate is also from Fairnat. Let me find out from you, Kwabna Boache, what do you mean when you talk about a smart home?
So basically, we mean getting your house or making your house come alive. So just like how a human being can breathe and can do things with their hands and their legs, we are saying that your house too can be responsive. It doesn't have to be a block or a piece of block sitting there that cannot react to your heat or to the weather or to outside temperature or to security measures or to the fact that probably you are not around, but you still want your house to feel like there is a presence of somebody inside. So with the introduction of artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and the Internet of Things, smart homes was being the issue. So we currently have we have supercomputers that control your home, that control everything that you have in your house. So from your living room, your kitchen, your bedroom, to your parlor, to your swimming pool, to your bathroom, everything can react to you, can react to how you feel. Even your lights can change depending on your mood for the day, and probably relax or give you more relaxing feel when you come back home. And so this is where the world is getting to, and the world has been at this for a time. Some time ago, when Singapore, when Dubai, and then this is something that has already been initiated, but not even common in Ghana. So our main goal and our main aim was to make sure that we commonize it for the Ghanaians, and that everybody can actually acquire or get themselves a smart home or a smart house with as little as 2,299 Ghana cedis.
So, Bright, what attractive packages do you also have for patrons? Hello, Bright, kindly unmute for me. Hello, Bright, unmute for me. Let's have a conversation.
Yes, hi, good afternoon to your cherished. Yes. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Go ahead, Bright. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Bright, go ahead. We can hear you.
With Fernand. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
All right, so let's try and fix Bright's line. Let me bring you back in, Israel. What are we to expect at the second mini clinic of the JoyNews Habitat Fair? Israel, you're also muted. Unmute for me.
All right, so you can expect that Bright Tamate from Fernand, Ghana, will be coming in. They were not at the first mini clinic, but they are available at the second mini clinic, which goes to show that a lot of these companies who are sitting back, they get to watch the way the fair is going and they feel, oh, I mean, I'm missing an opportunity here. And so let me jump right in. So Fernand actually makes some solid wooden furniture. So we're talking about high quality furniture. If you see their doors, their beds, they have some really great stuff going. And I'm expecting that they're going to come to the mini clinic and exhibit some of these things. So those of you who are not aware of Fernand, if you come to the mini clinic tomorrow and Sunday, you're going to get to have a taste of what they offering. But we have other exhibitors who are also joining. So you just have to make your way there. Of course, EcoBank is going to be there, and they're going to be talking about the pension-backed mortgage. And then we have Elegant Homes, we have Duraplast, we have Interplast. It's also coming along as well. And Bambi Smart Homes with their offer. And so you just have to be there.
It's something that I'm so much interested. I want to have a smart home. So definitely I'm not going to miss out. I'm going to be there. Let's see if we have Bright back on. Bright, what's so unique about Fernand? Israel just gave us a little picture of it.
I hope I'm on now. With Fernand, basically, we find ourselves in a lifestyle brand that is into the design and the manufacture of quality furniture in the Ghanaian and beyond. As the only existing locally manufactured company, furniture manufacturing company in the country, we look at delivering bespoke products that are to the taste and specifications of our cherished clients. So we do doors, we do beds, we do dressers, wardrobes, pergolas, dining sets, office decks, living room sets, including a whole lot that you can look out for when you think of food. With Fernand, we are 1974 we were established, so currently 48 years, and it can tell you the taste of solid wooden products that we have. When we say think food, the only thing you can think of is Fernand. So we'll be live tomorrow to see, and we are inviting everybody to come to have a taste and feel of the products that we have. And it will be mind-blowing. And I believe that a lot can be experienced from what we will share tomorrow.
All right, Bright, Kwabena Boakye and Israel, thank you so much for your time. So once again, the second mini clinic of the EcoBank JoyNews Habitat Fair is on this weekend at the West Hills Mall. West Hills Mall, that's the place to be. This year's fair is on the theme home ownership, to build or to buy. It's going to be on Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Don't miss out. When I return from this break, we're going live to Kumasi because KNUST students have started packing out of school even before the deadline. We'll get details and see what exactly is happening on campus and how our students preparing to leave campus. Stay with me. Welcome back to The Pulse. We are coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. You can also join via all our social media handles. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. My personal handle is at the Nana Aisha. Let's move straight to Kumasi because this afternoon also students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology have started packing out of the school ahead of the planned clashes there. Heavy police presence at the university as officials step up security to prevent violence there. The Regional Security Council says it has picked information that 2 student groups have planned to clash. There's an order for the students to leave the campus tomorrow as examinations come to an end today. Already, students have started leaving the campus as heavily armed police personnel patrol every corner of the university. We'll take you there live for the situation on the ground. My colleague Ohemen Teria is the one monitoring events for us. Ohemen, first, tell me about the assessment of this whole security situation by school authority.
Thank you, Aisha. For now, there is peace, I must say, on campus after the 2018 incident where students hit the streets, clashed with 2 authorities, and also destroyed university's property worth over 3 million Ghana cedis. The university campus was declared a security zone. That has remained till now when the Regional Security Council says it picked intelligence of a planned reprisals of 2 university halls to attack each other and cause chaos on campus. So it did introduce measures to mitigate this plan. And this measure, as of 3 days ago, security was beefed up on campus of KNUST, and it has remained so until today, when additional police personnel were also deployed to the campus. But this time around, with some sort of operational procedures different from how they have been operating on campus in the earlier days. For instance, yesterday, the security on campus did foot patrols, snap checks, and then did a random search of people that they suspect could be harboring or have something under their sleeves. But today, when we went back to campus, the situation has changed with armed police officers positioned at vantage points in what looks like they surrounding the 2, university residential halls, talking about Unity, also known as Conti, and then Katanga, the university hall itself. So the armed men are stationed there. They are not moving, and they have been put at vantage points, meaning that university authorities, with Regional Security Council foresee this clash, being eminently coming off today. And today, what we are learning is that the students have planned what they call morale session. The morale session is actually an event where the students have the opportunity to sing, dance, and make merry after successfully completing their end of semester exams. And we are told the students had wanted to take advantage of this particular event to cause mayhem and chaos on campus. But today, authorities tell me this particular event will not come off. They have canceled it to the at the expense of the students. Even this morning, when I went to campus, the students were rehearsing indoor. The rehearsals were being done, in their rooms and then in the inner court of the halls of residence. But later, when I spoke to the University Relations Officer, Dr. Norris Bequin, he did indicate that there's no way university authorities and the Regional Security Council will allow the students to go out in their numbers for this morale session. And he also been speaking about the fact that university authorities are very, very satisfied with the security arrangements that they put in place, and they believe that everything is working according to plan. We can take a listen to Professor Dr. Norris Bekwe, the URO of KNUST.
We had envisaged that just about a week to the time all students complete or finish their end of semester examination, we should have some relative number of security personnel around. That has been working. They have been working since last week, and almost every evening there's regular patrol around all where the students are living, including off-campus hostels. And as we stated earlier on, there will be some deployment of additional security men or personnel on campus between Thursday and Friday, and Saturday through to Monday. And as you walk about, you will see that happening. So I would say the plan is working. And I'm happy to inform you that a lot of our security men, the students have started packing and leaving. Yesterday, for instance, some 3 friends of mine were here to pick up their awards, and they've been excited. You know, it's a nice thing. Moving through the year has not been a small joke. Having to combine teaching and learning with management of COVID-19, and so once we are done, or we the academic year peacefully to their various homes, and they continue to protect themselves until we find possible solution, or quite a number of them get vaccinated against COVID-19, so that we can come back to school to begin the 2022 academic year safely. According to the Regional Security Council, they are not going to allow anything of that sort to happen, and we will not give them the opportunity to do so. Anyone who dare tries that, the security personnel will pick you up, and then according to the plan, they will have to keep you behind the cells for some time, and then of consolidation, then you will have to go and tell your story there. According to the Regional Security Council, nothing of that sort should be allowed. So that's why they are here. They are here. You see, most of the time, those people who live in these halls are first-year students. First-year students are not interested in this kind of fight or this kind of rivalry between Conti and Unity and Katanga. They are not interested in that. It is usually those who are either in the final year or those who have been sanctioned in one way or the other, who are hanging around the university. People who have been punished and refuse to tell their parents that I have been suspended or have been sacked or dismissed from the university, and they continue to collect school fees. They are the people who come and foment trouble. And so those people who are living in the halls of residence should not even they should not attempt to do that, so that these such bad people, elements, will come and they infiltrate their rank and file.
So, Ohime, what's the general mood of students in the school when you visited earlier?
For students, they appear unperturbed. They are not perturbed with the ongoing situation, security arrangement on campus. Just to say that they are happy with the presence of the security, the heavy, police presence. They say is to their advantage. They've been complaining about the fact that during this period, where they are writing their end of semester exams, they are, the people who perpetuate their nefarious activities at their halls of residence and private hostels. So once the police presence, is providing them with the needed security, they are comfortable, they are okay with this particular arrangement. When I left campus, they were already, majority of them were already a packing out, because the university authorities say about 85% of the students are done with their end of semester examination. And don't forget, the Regional Security Council has already issued, an order to them to vacate campus once you are done with your end of semester exam. So majority of them are already packing out of campus. So with the exception of foreign students and students who have project defenses to make on campus, they are the only students who are allowed to stay on campus. Even so, they have to do this under the instructions or the permission of the Dean of Students. So all these students may have to apply through the Dean of Students before they are allowed to stay on campus. So for the students, it's a normal day for them. They seem not to care about what is happening. But I must say that at the Unity Hall, where there were police presence, that is where I overheard some of the students complaining about the fact that, they are likely to mix out on the morale session or the morale night today, which for them is more or less their Christmas day. So they wouldn't want to miss this opportunity. But unfortunately, that opportunity, they are likely to miss it as the university authorities announce the cancellation of this whole night. So yes, some of them will be paid, especially those at Katanga and then the Unity Hall.
My colleague Ohementeria with updates on the KNUST situation. We're still there monitoring for you updates in our subsequent bulletins. Now, government has gifted some confiscated rosewood towards the construction of the National Cathedral. The rosewood, which was being smuggled out of the country, was impounded at the Tema port by authorities whilst actively looking for those behind it. The Lands and Natural Resources Minister this afternoon presented the rosewood to the Board of Trustees of the National Cathedral project. According to Abuja Napo, the policy of government going forward will be to ensure strict adherence to the ban on rosewood harvesting.
We are doing so. We are handing over all the rosewood to them. It is not our wish that we have a situation of rosewood being harvested, let alone for them to be confiscated, and further let alone for us to hand them over to the National Cathedral. Our policy and our effort is to stop the harvesting of rosewood. But as I said the last time I visited the port, is that we have intelligence and we have evidence that there is some transshipment of rosewood from neighboring countries. And therefore, we're putting in place measures to ensure that Ghana does not also become a transit point, a criminal transit point for the transit of illegally harvested wood. And when they are confiscated, they'll be handed over to the National Cathedral until such time that they will not have the need for rosewood, and then we'll dispose of them through other means. But for the time being, all the rosewood which have been confiscated will be handed over to them.
Meanwhile, Deputy Finance Minister Dr. John Kumar says the rosewood gifted towards the cathedral constitutes an important help towards the construction of the cathedral. He also appealed to Ghanaians to donate towards building the cathedral.
Well, it's too early to put specific figures to it. At the right time, I believe the contractors will let us know how much this represents in terms of their quantities and pricing. But I want to take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister on behalf of my minister, the Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, and to express the gratitude of government to the Minister for Lands and Forestry, the Honorable Abuja Napo, for such a gracious offer towards the construction of the National Cathedral. Since the trustees are here, I believe they will also do the thanks. But I want to take the opportunity to appeal to every Ghanaian, wherever you are. The code has not changed. It's *979#. And beyond the code, beyond the cash contribution, all kinds of contributions are accepted, including in kind. Apart from the rosewood, if you have cement or any contribution you also want to give towards the construction of the National Cathedral, you are warmly welcome.
Meanwhile, receiving the rosewood, member of the Board of Trustees supervising the National Cathedral project, Reverend Dr. Frimpong Manso thanked government for the donation. According to him, donating the seized rosewood towards the construction of the National Cathedral is a symbolic gesture.
On behalf of our chairman, Apostle Professor Pokunyina, and the rest of the trustees, we want to say thank you to the minister and his team and all those who work within this ministry for showing us such kindness today. You know, the cathedral, which is the vision of His Excellency the President, is not for the President. It is not for the government. It is for Ghanaians. And for such a judicious use of this rosewood, which has become a national asset, is something we should celebrate. But let me say one thing. We have in ethics what we call lesser of two evil. The first place is people should not go and smuggle rosewood. People should not break the law because we need to be law-abiding citizens. And we need to preserve our environment for posterity. But when such things are confiscated, it's better to use it for a wealthy cause than put petrol and fuel on it and burn them. So we are happy that a burden has been taken away, but we are also pleading with Ghanaians to be mindful of the environment. Recently, I think last April or so, we spent a whole day telling people to plant trees. And I think as I'm here, I'll still talk about the tree planting exercise. Let us preserve our environment. I'm here for the National Cathedral, so I will say that we want you to give, we want you to donate, we want you to help us. And like the President has pledged, come 6 March 2024, we will be there dedicating this edifice, which is not only the cathedral, but the biblical gardens and the Bible Museum, to the glory of God.
A 28-year-old pregnant woman, Josephine Simons, is reported to have gone missing on Thursday, September 16, 2021 in Takoradi. The victim's husband, Michael Simons, speaking to the media, says his wife went on a morning walk from the Amano Road to the Park roundabout area, all in Takoradi, as part of a routine exercise. However, Josephine did not return home. He says he thought his wife might have been rushed to a health facility for delivery, so he and other family members started searching small and major health facilities with the hope of finding his wife, but that has not been fruitful. Listen to the husband as he tells us about his missing wife.
Okay. Pacho, Dennis here. First of all,
yeah, from Michael Simmons and I'm Takoradi. And my wife, Josephine Simmons. And I'll pay around 5 a.m. Say or call work. But since then, on sign my fee. Now, if you call, say, and go for being a fry. Almost say, almost fry, mommy. Almost say, on for amount of money being bra. No more kidding up.
Can you put me up or ask
amount in my meaning to me answer amount on the boy. But yes, on your so any part cocoa cacra.
Until your friend Marco report to police
station and on one extract. Say if I'm registrations and from by announcement. The stress it will be a Josephine or any cocoa. It's just on Shadow any party in team on him until Obia will be a stress on board to mention or report to the nearest police station and ask a number you will be to me for 0542 333
Now, find him for a crime base.
You will talk on one in my side, Old John Saba Road. Normally, in a year or co walking from Market Circle to Park sir, a hawker cran and a yacht alpha. Be sure, say, hobby be as a
Let's speak with Inathalia Kwanza, who is in the Western region for us. Inathalia, what's the latest on this matter?
I met with the family around 2 p.m. this afternoon, and then apparently they have gone for extract from court, and then they have also gone to seek so that they would trace this MTN line, which called the mother of the lady, so that they could find out where they are. But I have also been speaking to some community members and relatives who apparently says that they had another call, and from these supposed kidnappers who said that they could not use the lady for what they intended using her for, so they've left her. But as to where they have left her, they couldn't tell the family. So this is where their dilemma is now, that how can they trace where this lady is? I have been trying so hard to get in touch with the police PRO, DSP Olivia Erabna Deco. I've been calling her, but she hasn't picked up. But I called the Central Police Station crime officer where the case was reported to, and he also directed me that he cannot speak to it, but I have to speak to the PRO. So for now, the family, they are still waiting, they are still searching for where Josephine is.
In Athalia Kwanzaa with the update from the Western region, Takoradi to be precise, where there's a missing pregnant woman. And you heard from the husband as well. We'll be monitoring this. Once we get any update, we'll share with our viewers in our subsequent bulletin. Now, 2 weeks after UK donated COVID-19 vaccines arrived in Ghana, the UK Minister for Africa, James Dudridge, has arrived in Accra for a 2-day visit to the country. Ghana's long-term prosperity is central to the UK-Ghana partnership in security and stability, which is essential to the country's growth. Together, the UK and Ghana are partnering to tackle shared threats through a new ministerial security dialogue, law enforcement partnerships, and peer-to-peer training. To strengthen the UK-Ghana security partnership, Minister Dudridge will use his visit to announce a further £250,000 to fund 4 vital security and stability projects that will bolster Ghana's capability to combat threats. This funding is in addition to the existing £1 million of UK funding to support the country's counter-terrorism capabilities. Kojo Yankson sat down with Mr. Dudridge for an interview that touched on various topics.
Recently, the UK government got themselves a brand new Minister for Africa. He's here in Ghana with a purpose. Among other things, he's here to foster the UK-Ghana relationship when it comes to Ghana's security arrangements. With a donation of £250,000, 4 projects have been put in place, and the Minister for Africa has spent time with his counterparts here in Ghana getting these projects underway. We have the privilege of learning a bit more about this and other things he's been up to on this trip. And so let's say a very big akwaba to Mr. James Dudridge. Thank you so much for making the time to speak to us.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be back in Accra.
Absolutely. And the key word there is back, because it's not your first time, is it?
No, I think it's my 4th time, 3rd since I've been reappointed as Minister for Africa under Boris Johnson, previously David Cameron's Minister for Africa. But I was a near neighbour once in Abidjan.
Oh, yes.
My car broke down on the way to Accra and I never quite made it. It took another 50 years to get
Goodness, finally. Now, like I mentioned, you're here with a purpose. One of the important things your trip sought to achieve was to start off 4 projects which are all aimed at supporting Ghana when it comes to security arrangements. It's backed by £250,000. Tell us a little bit more about those projects.
So this is from our Conflict Stability and Security Fund. Like the people of Ghana, concerned about the instability to the north of Ghana.
Yeah.
In fact, I've just come from meeting regional leaders from the north who've described the situation on the border, particularly with Burkina Faso and Togo. And are very concerned about the instability in the Sahel, something we've been involved in, but it's not about simply waiting for problems to come down. It's about building a greater stability for that region to make it more resilient from any problems coming from the further north. So James Heapy, the Minister for Defence, was here a few months ago. Only last week I was discussing the issues with your Minister of Defence. We were both in Lusaka, and it's very much around creating stability. And part of that is restoring a balance in terms of the economy. And I hope to come back and visit the north, not looking at things from a military and pure security viewpoint, but help create some of the underlying factors that will make the region more resilient. So to talk about education of children, but also private sector investment, because actually private sector investor in the north creates value in two ways, the stability and the financial return and employment and so forth, compared to another investment in Accra.
Now, specifically, this money is to be spent on 4 different projects, and I've been quite curious to understand what the end goal is, what you're hoping to achieve with these 4 projects. So, for example, looking at the northern border, which historically has been very porous, what are you hoping that this project will what in particular are you hoping it will fix when it comes to our security arrangements at the northern border?
The border will always be porous. We're not up for building a Mexican US wall or a Berlin wall. We're not up for militarizing the area. That is not the solution. The solution, the recommended solution from the people in the north is around creating this stability, making the population more resistant to the possibility of moving to extremism. And that involves getting people jobs and money in their pockets, and looking at the holistic picture. We've seen the effects of climate change particularly strongly in the north of Ghana, with the excessive rainflows which have damaged crops, which have meant people are not going to eat as well in the coming year and will have less to invest. And that causes very, very big problems. But also working with regional neighbours and working with the Sahel G5, looking at the problem holistically. The GDP per capita of Ghana is $2,200 US. It's nearer 800 or thereabouts in the northern region, and that disparity has to change, particularly as Ghana grows out of poverty, going beyond aid. It's important that the regions, if we're considered a country themselves, would still be left behind. So there will always be regional disparities. There are disparities in the UK, which we try to work on. But all the projects fundamentally are working on the basics rather than just treating the symptoms.
Now, I've noticed that a lot of that money will be spent through Star Ghana in galvanizing civil society in this pursuit of stability in the area. Tell us a little bit more about that. Why civil society as a partner?
So we met with Star Ghana. It's a good way to, civil society is a good way of connecting with a large number of people to find out what the problem is, what the solution is, and what the implementation is. Because if someone sat in Accra does all that analysis, or heaven forbid sits in London or New York or Addis Ababa, they are far removed from understanding the real nature of the problem, what the blockers will be, let alone overcoming them. So we talked about conflict within the north, and there's a perception sometimes in the UK that this is religious conflict, but actually conflict around chieftaincy, conflict around land is more prevalent, according to the people that I met, than conflict around religion. In fact, a lot of the religious conflict is Christian, Muslim, rather than bashing together. So that's the reason STAR was so important. But civil society are the building block of any society, and you see that, or I see that when I'm travelling around Africa, not so much where it's working, but when it's not working. When society isn't coming together, you say why? And it's because people are scared to come together, to organise, to communicate, to defend their rights and advocate for themselves. And let's face it, if you are a poor farmer, eating less than you would like to do that, not being able to support your family, advocacy and fighting your corner, let alone coming to Accra or getting involved in politics as I did as a young man in the UK, it seems very distant. So it's good to use these groups to go through that process of problem identification, identification of a plan, and then implementation of a plan, and holding people to account, including holding international partners to account. So, you know, I'm not coming back in 2 years' time having the same discussion. So kind of making it uncomfortable for myself by saying I'll go to the regions, I'll see it and see whether any of the work that we've done had an effect. And go there with Ghanaian partners as well to make sure we're all doing everything we can and learning from the things that have worked over that year and the things that haven't worked quite so well. You know, not everything is a straight line trajectory to success. It's incremental improvement to stabilise the north. But Ghana is doing a very good job compared to some of its neighbours in repelling this problem from its border. But I think these projects help things go in the right direction.
I was going to ask how you intend to evaluate these projects, but you've sort of touched on that over there. So some of this will involve interacting with our security services, some capacity building and so forth. Talk to us about that, because in Ghana, our security services are very hardworking, security services, police and so forth, immigration, but they are constrained when it comes to resources, training and so forth. Are these projects going to address any of that? And I mean, honestly, how sustainable can any attempt, you know, to assist security services with resources be when we're talking £250,000 in total?
And that's just simply the recent announcement off the back of a lot of military support in the north. It'd be wrong for me to go into that detail because although the Minister for Africa, the defence relationship is obviously with the MOD, and it would be right for someone like James Heatley to comment on that. But the point of all these investments, whether it's military or through other sources, to make them sustainable.
Right.
It's not about providing help tomorrow, it's about providing support, training, and methodology that will go forward, because any form of development that only lasts short term won't work.
Yeah. Now, you're going to be bringing some experts in to help with capacity building as well. Anything you can share with us about what their expertise is in particular?
So we've got a large team already here. I would say the team is changing over time, and there was a big parliamentary inquiry into our relationship with Ghana. I think over the last 20 plus years, £2.8 billion has gone in overseas development assistance money, and now going beyond aid, a different set of people are needed, particularly around economic development and the JET scheme, the Jobs Economic Partnership and Economic Transformation, is absolutely critical. And in relation to health issues, I met with the President's consortium to help produce vaccines, which is clearly important because of COVID, but also is important in terms of as the Gates money and subsidy for child vaccines drops off, the case for production of vaccines locally and regionally is stronger. So it's changing the type of people that will need help, because Ghana is changing. So the other elements, as well as the health that I've mentioned, is around trade. So both from a Ghana perspective and an African perspective from Ghana. So I met with Yvori Grant of the Ghana Trade and Investment Centre. I'd met him before at the African Investment Summit, deciding how we can work together on bringing business into Ghana and bringing investment into Ghana. I also met with a number of diaspora-based here in Ghana and agreed to do a diaspora event co-located in Accra and London. About 100,000 plus Ghanaians resident in the UK, to work out how they can leverage that relationship for the benefits of both countries, and very kind of explicit understanding of the nuance of what's available working together and working on trade issues through Accra. I mean, the government of Ghana were very successful in getting the headquarters of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. I met with Wankele Menko for the third time today, but for the first time in the new centre, which showcases trade, and is a great boon for Accra, because people will visit, whether it's world leaders, presidents of Africa, or people like myself from outside the continent. And I signed the first memorandum understanding between any nation state outside of Africa to say how we are going to help, because we not only as a trading nation have a large degree of expertise, but also through organisations like Trademark East Africa have a lot of experience in investing overseas development assistance in helping breaking down barriers to trade, because only about 18% of trade is intra-African, and I had a number of stories of it. It was literally easier to send something to Europe and then bring it back onto the continent to a near neighbour than wait in a 5-kilometre queue. And you know, that is not possible if it's fresh mango, and it's very expensive if it is a tractor part that needs for repair. So you know, there's a theme here, I suppose, of working in partnership on the trade, partnership in the health, partnership in the northern areas, and I think that's what would really typify the relationship, moving away from where we were at the beginning of the spend of the 2.8 billion, which is very much about humanitarian, person-to-person immediacy, to a more mature relationship of equals, which is one of more mutual benefit and self-interest for both parties around trade. So yeah, it's really quite transformational. I think Ghana should be very proud of the progress it's made, but also I think it should be very proud as well of its position in Africa in terms of democracy. Since 1990, only 22 countries have since 1990 there's only been 22 democratic transitions. 3 of those have been in Ghana, which was the record until last week, when the third happened in Zambia. Now that's worrying for 54 nations over such a period of time, but it's a compliment to the people of Ghana in their stability. So we want Ghana to be a showcase for the continent as much as you do.
Let's talk a bit more about this memorandum of understanding with the free trade agreement. I mean, one might be forgiven for thinking it's sort of counterintuitive for the United Kingdom to actually promote an African continental free trade agreement, particularly because you've just come out of Europe, a process which, as I understand, you helped with. So now you probably need stronger partnerships, trade partnerships, with African countries. If they start trading amongst each other, is that not perhaps taking away from their capacity to trade with the UK?
I can see why you can see it's contradictory, two contradictions. Firstly, the UK, why are we not doing what we're saying you should be doing? Europe was growing slowly, it was becoming a political federation, question marks over the efficacy of the Eurozone. We wanted from Lagos through to Abidjan. It is a really important one and quite tricky to get right in terms of trade, so focusing on that, leveraging the UK's skill set across a number of countries. But it's a 3-year partnership initially. Not because we're going to walk away after 3 years, we're going to do a lot more over that time. It's just a starting point, but that will allow a review mechanism to constantly be moving forward. But to be frank, I'm not sure whether 18% intra-African trade is far too low, targeting 21, I think, by 2022.
Yeah.
But where does it end? Is it 50, 60%? But growing the overall pot for prosperity. But my aim would be to have a country like Ghana being a bit more like Vietnam, growing at 20% per year over 20 years. We want more of those kind of African lions rather than Asian tigers.
You mentioned that this is the UK is the first country to sign such an MOU with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Is it considered, back in London as a win over China? Because there is that ongoing, I don't want to call it a battle, that's too strong, but there is that ongoing competition to strengthen relations with Africa between the East and the West. Is this considered a win in that competition?
I think it's a win. I'm quite proud we're the first people to sign. It hadn't occurred to me China would even want to sign. The Chinese focus is much more about resource capture and trading on a bilateral.
And we're still live on The Pulse. Tweet at us with the hashtag The Pulse. We are on all our social media handles. We take a break and make way for the very latest from the sports world.
Hans Mensando here with the sport on The Pulse. And this Sunday, Accra Hearts of Oak return to the CAF Champions League. They begin their campaign against Guinean side Kamsa. And the clash, of course, as a result of the political tensions in Guinea, means that we are going to have a one-legged tie per the directive from the Confederation of African Football. And this is where it all begins for Accra Hearts of Oak. It's a competition where they recorded their greatest achievement as a football club in the year 2000 when they won the CAF Champions League and then also the Super Cup. That was before beating Asante Kotoko in the Confederations Cup. Joining me in studio, Mubarak Haruna, my colleague, to get a bit more perspective on this game. And Mubarak, this is very, very important for Accra Hearts of Oak. When you talk about Hearts, they talk about Continental Club Master. They've got a chance to live this name yet again on Sunday.
Exactly. In your intro, you said they won it in 2000, and I was not sensible then. It tells you that it's been a very long time, and now they're having a chance again to play in that competition and then to make a mark.
Now, the lead up to this has seen Hearts of Oak engage in some friendly games, notably against Accra Lions, and it's got a few of the fans worried because of the results they've recorded in these friendly matches. Really, should they be worried? As in, should the focus really be on the results or how the team has performed in the lead up to this?
There's no need to dwell on the two defeats because they are friendlies. And the main reason why friendlies are being played, especially in preseason, is to let the players get minutes under their belt so that they'll be fit enough for the actual game. Now, the main game is against CI Kamser. That is the most important game, not the friendlies. And look, the good thing is that Hearts are facing a team that are relatively lower than them in terms of pedigree, in terms of clout on the African terrain. They are facing CI Kamser, who are not really a powerful team in Africa. So they stand a chance. They have a coach who is, although inexperienced on African terrain, with a relatively inexperienced squad. But you can see the bond he has with the players, the team spirit. And for me, that is very key. That allows the players to play the football artistically and also to express themselves on the pitch. Unlike under Costa Papic, where they were shackled, they were playing quite pragmatically. But now that is not the case. And for me, I think that is very key for us.
Now, we are going to see a Hearts of Oak team with players who don't have the required experience on the continental stage. We've talked about how their friendly matches in the lead up to this has gone. But really, Hearts of Oak cannot have any excuse to disappoint on Sunday, especially because due to the political tensions in Guinea, they've been handed a reprieve of a sort where they have to play one-legged tie at home, which, if they win, they progress to the next stage of the competition. They cannot have any excuse not to perform, can they?
Exactly. They are playing at home in front of their fans. that is a wonderful opportunity for them to showcase what they have. Since Amobodu was appointed, they've not lost a game at the Accra Sports Stadium. It tells you that they are trying to make that stadium a fortress. And meeting a team like CI Kamser, I believe the fact that the players will give off their best. Yesterday, I was at the just unveiling, and one thing Todbe said was, anytime these House of Folk players win a match, he will send them a text message congratulating them. But the reply he gets is that, board chairman, the target is in our head. We want to make a mark in Europe. We are ambitious. We want to perform on the African terrain. That is their target. And for me, I think that is clear that the players are really up to the task.
So on Sunday, Accra Heart of Folk, CI Kamzadi, Accra Sports Stadium. And on Saturday at 7:30 p.m., we will rewind to the year 2000 when Accra Heart of Folk won the CAF Champions League. We'll bring you more on Heart of Folk in our subsequent bulletins. Thank you very much, Mubarak.
It's a pleasure.
You can read more in the meantime at myjoyonline.com/sports. My name is Hans Mensando.
And that's how we wrap up the Pulse this afternoon. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. I've indeed enjoyed my almost 2 hours stay with you. You have to enjoy the rest of our programs. Also remember to have fun because it's a Friday. Take care of yourself.